With Keon Ellis rising to be an elite 3-and-D guard in today's league, and Malik Monk taking a bit of a pay cut to run it back with Sacramento for 4 years, and Kevin Huerter looking to bounce back from a disappointing last season, there's no doubt that we have three elite options for that starting two-guard spot, and the massive question that's been on every Kings fan's mind this offseason is who is going to be that starting shooting guard heading into the opening game against the Wolves on October 24th. Now, without a doubt, there's so many different options that Mike Brown can go with heading into that opening lineup against the Wolves in October. And you can definitely make a case for each player deserving that starting spot. But luckily, we have a report today that's going over the best fit for the Sacramento Kings starting rotation and basically why they are the better fit for being the starter and how the other two players are going to fit in with the bench rotation. But before we get into the rest of the video, welcome back to Kings Digest. The channel is showcases all of the upcoming Sacramento Kings news, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, as YouTube still tells me that 96% of you guys who watch my videos still aren't subscribed. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the community while we grow before next season gets here, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future content. Now let's head over to today's report that states the Sacramento Kings focused heavily on their guards this offseason by retaining elite six-man Malik Monk and drafting Kevin Huerter in the 2024 NBA Draft. On top of those two, the Kings traded for six-time NBA All-Star DeMar DeRozan, who can play as a guard but will likely play as the small forward in Sacramento. Another new name is Jordan McLaughlin, a rotational guard entering his seventh year in the association. And now, clearly you can see we made a lot of major moves this offseason that's all guard centered. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, he did play some power forward minutes for the Bulls, and he will be the starting small forward for our Sacramento Kings roster, as we pretty much got our starting rotation set in stone, as we got four, clear set starters in De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis. But then, like I said in the beginning of the video, is everybody's wondering who is going to deserve that starting two-guard spot. But luckily, as we look at this report, at the two, it's a completely different story. Sacramento has three potential starters: Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, and Kevin Huerter. From an outside perspective, it is unlikely that the Kings start Monk after using him as a six-man last season. His shot-creating ability made him one of the best bench scorers in the league, giving him versatility that allowed him to close out games despite not starting them. And basically, off of that fact alone, I do believe that Malik Monk should not be in the starting rotation, as he is such an elite bench leader for us. And I mean, just looking at his stats off the bench for us last season, he averaged 15.5 points per game, his career high. Also averaging career high in assists of 5.1, second in sixth man of the year, as you all know. And he definitely would have took it if he didn't get injured at the end of the year. He also led the NBA in bench points and assists. So, I mean, just having an elite talent like Malik Monk to lead our bench mob, I believe is key for our Sacramento Kings heading into next season, as having somebody that can just be a reliable scorer and shot creator and playmaker, as we have seen Malik Monk is such an underrated playmaker for the Kings. I believe that is just a key for us to win a few more games and help us close out games, as they stated that Malik Monk is just amazing at being able to finish out games even though he's not starting them. And I mean, that is just such a true statement, and I believe that Malik Monk will be most impactful for us off the bench. But let's head over to the other report. For a well-rounded team, it would make the most sense to hand the starting job to Keon Ellis. His defensive prowess is unmatched and is something you can't find in Monk or Huerter's game. And I mean, that is true, as you've seen Keon Ellis' defensive performance against Stephen Curry in the play-in tournament, and just seeing it throughout when he started getting more minutes due to the injuries and he started to prove himself more. He's just an elite on-ball defender who sticks to the opposing offense like glue, is good to go around screens and just stick to the offense, not letting them get comfortable and get to their spots on the floor, and being able to predict passing lanes. He's just an elite defender, someone that we desperately need in the starting rotation, and that is why I 100% agree with this statement so far. And just as he further states, on top of being able to defend, Ellis's three-point shot fell in an efficient 41.7% last season, and every team needs a role player who can be a dog on the court, and Ellis is that guy for the Kings. I mean, for me, it is just a clear-cut answer for Keon Ellis to be in that starting rotation, as he just offers that defensive awareness and defensive mentality that the starting rotation, kind of lacks. Besides Keegan Murray, and of course De'Aaron Fox is tremendous at getting steals or whatever, but you do need somebody who can be a more reliable defender, more of a aggressive defender, and Keon Ellis is that. And on top of it, he will knock down that three for you if he's open more times than not, as he shot it at almost 42% on around 3 attempts per game last season, which is elite by any means. And in my opinion, Mike Brown developed Keon Ellis into, one of the league's most consistent and reliable 3-and-D defenders, and he's only going to develop further as he's still young. He could be one of the league's most elite 3-and-D players by, some point in his career, if he keeps developing the way that he is now. And I do think that on that fact alone, due to his defensive prowess and him actually shooting the three-point shot more consistently than Kevin Huerter did last season, that is a main reason why I do believe he deserves that starting spot over Kevin Huerter. And that's no knock on Huerter, as I do think he will 100% bounce back and be the player that he was a couple of seasons ago, as great shooters tend to be in slumps like this from time to time, as we've seen it from Klay Thompson, and even Curry went 0 for 13 in the game once. But Kevin Huerter is due for that bounce back season, but I do think that he would be more effective for us, coming off the bench with Malik Monk as that 1-2 scoring punch. I mean, just imagine having Kevin Huerter shooting lights out paired with Malik Monk's underrated playmaking and shot creating ability, and just watching them, play off of each other is just going to be interesting, I think. And having Keon Ellis fit in that starting rotation, playing defense, offering up that defense for DeMar DeRozan so he can save his energy for the offensive end of the ball, I feel like is just ideal and is definitely what Mike Brown should look into. Now, let's head over to the last report. As it states, there are too many combinations the Kings could have on the floor, so it's hard to see what direction Brown goes in. Regardless, someone is probably going to be the odd man out every game. Kings fans will get their first look at the starting five when the Minnesota Timberwolves visit Sacramento for the NBA season opener on October 24th. Now, I am so excited to see what lineup Mike Brown decides to open up with, as I believe, the first game is going to be such an interesting look at this new Kings lineup, this new Kings roster that we're going with. I feel like we almost got a different vibe on the go now this season. Adding DeMar DeRozan just puts us to a different level, and I do believe we are sleepers and we are going to be dangerous next season in the West. Now, that's all for today's video, guys. Let me know down in the comments who you think should be the starting shooting guard for the Sacramento Kings, and give me your reasoning on why you believe they should be starting and why you believe the other players would be better off the bench perhaps. But that's all for today's video, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one.